If you ever wake up in an empty hospital and realize you're the only one left, run. Because some hospitals were never truly abandoned, they were left behind for a reason. Tonight, we're not just exploring decaying walls and broken beds. We're stepping into the silence that still screams, the halls that remember the pain, the rooms that never healed, and the shadows that refuse to die. These are the world's creepiest abandoned hospitals that hide dark, forgotten secrets. And by the time we're done, you'll never look at a hospital the same way again. Deep in the woods of New Jersey stands the Greystone Park Psychiatric Hospital. Once a symbol of hope for the mentally ill, it quickly became a nightmare of neglect and torment. Patients were crammed together, restrained for days, subjected to experiments that blurred the line between medicine and madness. When the hospital finally closed, it was said that the building breath doors creaked on their own, windows shattered without wind, and voices whispered names no one alive remembered. Urban explorers report hearing the sound of metal wheels echoing through empty corridors as if stretchers were still being pushed by invisible hands. One explorer captured an audio recording of distant screaming, but when he played it back, the screams called his name. Thousands of miles away in Germany, the Belitz-Heilstätten Hospital stands frozen in time. Built in the late 19th century, it was used during both world wars to treat soldiers, including Adolf Hitler himself. The walls still bear bullet holes, and the operating rooms are stained with decades-old blood. At night, people claim to hear footsteps echoing on the tiled floors, followed by the faint murmur of nurses who died long ago. There's a story of a photographer who vanished inside while exploring alone. When his camera was later found, it contained one final photo, his own face, wide-eyed, with a shadowed figure standing just behind him. Across the sea in Japan lies the Heikyo Hospital, known as the Hospital of Eternal Night. Locals refuse to go near it after dark. It is said that a doctor there performed unethical experiments on terminal patients, experiments that continued even after they died. Visitors report that the air feels thick, almost alive, and their flashlights start flickering as soon as they enter the surgical wing. One traveler described hearing faint hospital monitors beeping in a room that hadn't had power in decades. When he turned to leave, every door in the hallway slammed shut at once. In Kentucky, the infamous Waverly Hills Sanatorium looms like a tomb on a hill. Built in the early 1900s during the tuberculosis epidemic, it became a house of death. Tens of thousands perished there. To keep morale up, bodies were secretly removed through an underground tunnel known as the body chute. Today, ghost hunters and thrill seekers claim to hear cries coming from that tunnel, as if the dead still wait to be taken out. In room 502, the ghost of a nurse is said to appear near the window where she hung herself after discovering she was pregnant and unmarried. People have captured clear EVPs of a woman crying softly, repeating, "I didn't mean to," but the deeper we go, the darker it gets. In Italy, there's Poveglia Island Hospital, an isolated asylum built on what was once a plague quarantine zone. Over 160,000 people died on that small island, and the soil itself is said to be mixed with human ash. The doctor who ran the asylum was rumored to have gone mad, performing lobotomies with crude tools, convinced he was curing his patients by freeing their souls. One night, he threw himself from the bell tower, yet the bell continued to ring for years afterward, even though no one ever found the bell's mechanism again. And then there's the old Changi Hospital in Singapore, the most haunted of them all. Built by the British in 1935, it became a Japanese prison and torture center during World War II. The screams of the tortured were said to echo through the halls, and many of their bodies were never recovered. Even now, guards stationed nearby refuse night shifts. One paranormal investigator entered with a camera crew. At exactly 3:15 a.m., the lights began to flicker. The footage later revealed figures moving in the dark, men in military uniforms, their faces blurred and featureless. And then, a voice, clear and close, whispered in the mic, "Leave." Every hospital leaves a scar on the land it stands on. Some healed, others rot, and in those that rot, something festers: memories, pain, energy. Maybe even the souls of those who never got to leave. When walls have absorbed that much suffering, they remember, and sometimes they whisper it back. So if you ever find yourself passing an old hospital at night, its windows shattered, its corridors choked with vines, keep walking. Don't look inside, because sometimes the hospital isn't as empty as it looks. And if you ever hear a stretcher rolling behind you, don't turn around. If you want to uncover more about the haunted remains of humanity's darkest places, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell because next time, we're going deeper, much deeper.